Shubor nakaslem jong unong san Hima.
Unong yalam kalyang persya u Dr. Mukul Sangma, ulat herteng ya ke United Democratic Party, kablas ngap menti halor ka jinglong jingman kabalawan jia hakijaka kapun, hadian baki arjella kilaya soy ya kasas kular halor uput usam. Usang maha kasngi balang ulakan tho ya kasas kular kajingate halor uput usam, balaya soy de kiteki arjella, da kabakam baka Sorkar bamenta, kam snautu ya ki jerwet jerwan, habaya day bat ka jinglong jingman kajaka hapo kajella. Utai Menteri Rang Bak Barim ulalet banjungo ya kamauyong ribhoi bat Malangkona West Khasi Hills ban snautu khamha halor ka ei kabalajia hakiteki jaka.
About the areas of difference and the claim. Our job is to indicate to Assam by substantiating our claim through available records which pertains to revenue records. Now when we talk about the revenue records, you all have the revenue records. Every Hima has the revenue records, which goes back to pre-independence time. Based on this, we have documented and submitted these areas of difference which you are claiming is ours. These areas which you are claiming is ours. That is the documentation which has been submitted to Assam government in the month of August 2011. Okay, now what I am saying is that you have to understand that even outside those areas which are well within the state of Meghalaya, which were not part of the disputed areas, are also being tagged and clubbed. This is another matter of concern.
Kilakharru ya ka jingalang jong baro kiseng san perthai, hadian balaya soy ya ka soskular banyakren. U Dr. Sangma habakren haka jingalang hakasnong malangkuna. Ula ong bahaba pai sya ka history, kalong kabadan kam ban kamibiang, kumnu ka jingya ka jia kalasdang. Sorkar India lang bakari Organization of the Northeast Region House nem Chihajar Khyndew pa Nyopaway, kalapruit dak hapdeng ka Meghalaya bat Assam. Haki babun na kiniki jaka, kibreu ki kentat ban priang yakani, bat kumta lasdang ka jing yakajia. Kibreu kim shimla tre priang hakate kapor, bat kin priang yakani menta, bat don kam ban kmi biang yakani.
The background is that after the interstate border was demarcated by Survey of India, post Northeast Reorganization Act 1971, people of the state of Meghalaya have refused to accept. Okay. Now, what is the basis? The basis is that the land in Meghalaya do not belong to the state government. The land belongs to the people. We have Himas, we have Dollois, we have Akhings in respect of Garo Hills. So all these land belong to different CMship in respect of Khasi Hills, different Akhing lands in respect of Garo Hills, and different Dollois in respect of Janjay Hills. Therefore, based on this, if you relook at the Northeastern Reorganization Act 1971, the creation of Meghalaya is completely clear in as far as the pronouncement of the area is concerned. The area falling under, I am making it in a simpler term so that everybody will understand. The areas falling within the jurisdiction of United Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council and the areas falling within the Garo Hills Autonomous District Council shall form the part of the state of Meghalaya.
Habakan tho shu ya katei ka soskular balasoi, u Dr. Sangma ulabu jengkeli, kumnu ka jengaken ad haka Khyndew ka siap hapdeng ki arjella, la ban penbet tangda artli ki jengalang. Ulat heru halor ka jingkam baka jing penben, bamenta ka longkat kum ka jurem, kabala penlong house nem arhajar khatway, hakapor bama uhi uyalam ya ka jella. Ula kamru ba menu ka ni ka jia shimladon kinu ki survey ki bala penlong, ki jingkhen bala pendon kam nakabenta ban penbet ya ka jing ya ka jia, kalalong ka ba bakla, bat ka bamlak pedeng. Menteri Rang Ba Konrad Sangma ula thok ya ka ni. Ula benrap bakarukam bala pendon kam ban penbet ya ka jing ya ka jia, kalong ka ba bakla, bat maham ya ka Sorkar ban ombam jaklun ha ka ban penbet ya ka ni ka kam. Ula benrap ru baka Khyndew kam dei jong ka Sorkar Meghalaya, ka dei jong ki Akhing, Hima bat Dolloi hapo jong ki district baper.
They are dividing amongst themselves 36 square kilometer of areas of difference in respect of these 6 areas of difference. They are dividing into 18 square kilometer. By 2 meetings, they have already completed this exercise. This is how you will be able to resolve these areas of difference. Now, while they try to do so, so many villages which are part of our claim has been transferred to Assam. So many villages. Somewhere the same village is being divided into two. You're seeing it in Khanapara, you're seeing it in Maikuli, you're seeing it in many villages. They're dividing even one village. On what basis? The give and take means you want to divide 50-50%. How will you give the land which belongs to the Hima? How will you give the land which belongs to the people? The land does not belong to government. Okay. That's why this is the complexity associated. Now Assam government understand it very well. Hemanta Biswa Sarma understand it very well. But Conrad probably doesn't understand this. Yes. That's why they want to expeditiously complete this whole process. Because when they can do it during the time when Conrad is in the helm of affairs of governance, they can have their field day. This is exactly what is actually a matter of concern. Our job is to tell them that what you are doing is wrong. I have said so outside the house, inside the house. I have cautioned them, don't go with this approach. This is completely unacceptable and it is a dangerous threat. You are allowing alienation of our 6 scheduled land. You are deciding to alienate the land which belongs to the clan, which belongs to the community, which belongs to the people. Please remember one thing. The moment these areas are allowed to be part of Assam, our people will become landless. Our generation next will become landless. We have already seen it in other parts of the state, where our Garos used to be the predominant inhabitants. Villages have disappeared. So please understand the overall serious fallout which revolves around, the future identity of our people.
Watlada uno ukwa ban penyaso bat ka Assam, amla ban le yakane klem ka jing manjur jong ki bor ki badai kmi. U Dr. Sangma ula theteng ru yaka UDP, lembat ki wei ki kenhun, ki bakar shan bat ki balas ngabjar, halor ki bala wanjia. Shushu ula pensngau baki beriu ki lakenta yaka sa skular, naba kim kwa satya ban le yaso shaka Assam, bat ban long shabar ka jella jong ka kernit bahen riu. Ula penpau bakane ka jing penkan ria bakan san yakini ki jaka sha Assam. Kapen I bahakis nembanwan kibreu ken sadu no yaki jaka kumbala jia hai ki wei ki jaka basa bun ki garu. Shushu utei unong yalam ula kular yakitu ki bayalum lang hamalang kona ban kershan yaka jing yakun jongki. Bat ong bakadei ka kamram jong barok kinong shongnong jong ka jella banyada yakariti ka dustur.
So also the rest in the western part. Therefore, if you want to look at the border, you have all the revenue records available from pre-independence time, from the time of the British era. Therefore, whether you are talking about the areas along Khanapara, Hilankata, that exists, which falls under your CMC of Hima, they have their own land records, the revenue records, based on which it is crystal clear which forms part of Meghalaya. Similarly, this side, this is falling under the Hima Nonglang Sadarsi. So every village have their headman who receives sanat from the Himas. That is a delegation of power to govern, inconsistent with the provision of 6th Schedule of the Constitution of India. You will appreciate the fact that we also have, besides the ownership over the land, we also have the responsibility and the power mandated by the provision of the 6th Schedule of Constitution for governing, for administration of justice. Therefore, any Nokma, for that matter, who is issued sanat has the delegation of power to embark upon all his responsibility inconsistent with the administration of justice, based on our traditional customary laws and practices. And that is part of our culture. That is part of our way of life. Now, the ownership over the land forms our cultural heritage. The Hima, whether you're talking about Himas elsewhere, not even within along the border of Assam, they have own jurisdiction. So therefore, the government is not the owner of the land, number one. Therefore, the government doesn't have the right to give a consent or assent for alienation of any land from within that particular Hima. Okay. Because that land belongs to the jurisdiction within well within the administrative jurisdiction of the Hima. Please understand that the Himas also, the Akhing lands and Dollois also have both administrative power and administrative responsibilities in as far as administrating the land and resources are concerned. You will have to talk to the landowners The landowners who belong, means landowners, the clan. Here, if you are talking about Hima Milim, you have to talk about Hima Milim. Their Darbar will decide. They also used to have the national Darbar. Similarly, every Hima has their own power in administration of their land and resources, inconsistent with all the customary laws and practices. Therefore, today we are here in Malang. Now, another thing, there are areas of difference where the stand of the state has to be indicated that this particular land which is being claimed by Assam is well within the boundary of one particular area. Say, for example, as I have referred to, under this CMC, under this Hima. So there is a complete clarity. And there are areas where we never had any dispute. Now, the areas which are not considered as areas of difference or outside the areas of dispute are well within Meghalaya. That means there is no dispute. Now, even the areas where there is no dispute, which is well within Meghalaya, those are the areas also which are in the process of their negotiation, and the so-called infamous give and take policy they have adopted there to divide the land. Now, they are trying to resolve pertaining to 6 areas of difference. Out of the 12 areas, only the 6 areas of difference. On the day one, I have said that please don't proceed ahead with this piecemeal approach and the other parameters which you are adopting in the whole methodology and the approach. Because once you do that, that means you are infringing upon the power and responsibility of our traditional institutions, which were not in dispute, which were well within Meghalaya and who have always been well within the administrative control of Meghalaya. Even they are now being pushed to Assam. And another part is, even though there may be different people from ethnic background, may not be belonging to the indigenous ethnic background, but they are well within the jurisdiction of that Hima. That means they are an integral part in respect of that particular Hima. How can you alienate that? To again revisit how the areas of difference have cropped up. When people don't accept, then area of difference remains. We don't accept it, people don't accept it. That means the areas of difference remains, it is not resolved. Okay. Because even after Northeast Reorganization Act 1971, when Survey of India has demarcated the border, Assam-Meghalaya border, people have not accepted it. It is after an enactment of an act. Still people didn't accept it because people wanted to protect the leaders then, our senior ancestors, rather our predecessors, wanted to protect the interests of our people in sync with the responsibility that is expected of us, the responsibility that is vested upon us. And we will sincerely fulfill our responsibilities.